is everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Transformers Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Pterosaur, which is a straight repaint, heavy retool of the original mold, the Transformers Kingdom Wave 2 Eraser. Of course, before we take a look at that figure, let's take a look at the packaging. So this is one of the portions of this really cool display, which you can make with all 4 packs, which I will show you in just a second, because this is the final pack I needed. Unfortunately, yes, I did kind of push off this review for a while, so I do apologize for the long wait, but here it is now. So of course, the packaging looks pretty cool. It is a portion of the Golden Disc. We have Transformers Kingdom, we have Transformers on the side, we do have Terrisour up there with Golden Disc Collection, and then on the side, of course, it's a deluxe class figure, and then on the back it transforms into 22 steps. Here he is, of course, in the robot and Pterodactyl mode. And I think that's pretty much it for the packaging, so let me go out to the side for a second, grab the other 3 boxes of this collection, and I can show you the complete artwork of the Golden Disc Collection. So here we have the Golden Disc Collection artwork fully complete, looking very, very cool. So of course, it is a golden disc, hence the name of the collection, which is very, very cool. And we have all the hieroglyphics on there, which is really, really nice. Of course, we also have the names on all the boxes. We have Autobot, Puffer, and Road Ranger. We have Suds and Jackpot. We also have Terrisour in that corner, and we also have Mutant Tigatron in that corner. Overall, I think this artwork looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, it is not, I would say, the most perfect square that it should be. As you can see, it's nice and flat on this side, but on this side it's a little bit unaligned, because this box here did hold 2 figures, and of course the other 3 only held 1. So unfortunately, this is a little bit longer than this one up top, so there is a little bit of extra room there. But overall, I think this looks pretty cool. The design is very nice. I do apologize that there is some glare on the box, because they're very shiny with all their artwork and stuff. So I do apologize about that. This is the best I could do, unfortunately. But overall, I think it looks pretty cool. I do kind of wish maybe they had made this a little bit more aligned, but, you know, there's 2 figures in this one, so really the only thing they could have done is split this into 2 separate packs, and maybe subtracted one of these, like not done the Mutant Tigatron and had Puffer in one pack and Road Ranger in the other. That's really the only way I could think of it. But overall, a really cool looking artwork. Of course, they will do this again for the Wreck and Rule collection, which is super cool, and I'm really looking forward to those packs, and looking forward to reviewing them for you guys. So now let's move on to the review of Transformers Kingdom Terror. So here we have the Transformers Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Terrisour in his Pterodactyl mode. Let's take a look at the details. So starting at the wings here, I think they did a pretty good job with them. They have really nice texturing to them. Of course, you can see lots of nice vein detailing, and there's a nice bone there leading to a really cool claw. Of course, the same detail on the other wing. That looks pretty nice. We do have some nice spots on the back. We have a little tail there, which looks pretty cool. Also, of course, we do have the really nice pterodactyl head with some nice yellow for the beak there, which looks pretty cool. And you can open the mouth to reveal some teeth, which looks very scary and menacing. And we do have a nice detailed tongue there. And the tongue does not have any articulation, but still it's pretty cool how they sculpted that into place. Pretty nice. We also do have, of course, this kind of crest section, or the back of the head. And of course, we have some nice green for the eyes and some black for the actual eye, which looks pretty good. And moving more to the body of the actual pterodactyl, of course, we have the nice claws there, sculpted pretty well. Lots of nice talon detailing. Some nice silver here and there, some more spots on the belly region. And on the side, of course, some more silver, some spikes. And overall, I think they did a pretty good job with this pterodactyl. I think overall this figure in general is pretty good, but I will get to my main complaint in just a second. But overall, I think this pterodactyl is pretty cool. So accessory-wise, he comes with, I'd say, 4, 2 of which I really do not count as accessories. So let's get to the first 2 that are pretty lame, I would say. So this figure comes packaged with these 2 little spike pieces separate from the figure, and you just attach them there, and you can keep them on there when transforming this figure to, of course, the pterodactyl or to the robot. It does not matter to take them off or not. And unfortunately, yes, these are counted as accessories, and they really do not serve any purpose. I'm not entirely sure why they can be removed at all. I think they should have just been sculpted permanently on the arm. I really don't understand, because they serve absolutely no purpose at all in this mode. And of course, course, in the robot mode, they just serve as, you know, some extra design and more angles to the figure. Overall, it looks pretty cool in the robot mode, but here, you really can't tell, like, what the purpose is. If you wanted to remove them because you don't like the look, of course you can, but I really don't care if they're on it or off it, because again, they do not serve much purpose. But of course, those are the two accessories that I don't really like that much, but the next two I think are pretty cool. So it does come, of course, with the golden disc, but I do question why does it not come with both, because we've always known from the Beastosaur show there is two, just like of course with the Titan class Arc, it came with two, so why does this only come with one? So unfortunately, yes, it only comes with one, but still I think it looks pretty cool. It's exactly like the one that came in the Arc, no different in sculpting or anything like that. Of course it has Sounds of Earth on the back, and all the hieroglyphics, which looks pretty cool. Right there, like the pyramid, and there's a lot of symbols there, which looks pretty cool. So overall, very, very nice. And the other accessory is the blaster, which I think looks pretty cool. Nice gunmetal gray, some red for the tip, and the handle. Overall, very simple in design, but I think it looks pretty cool. So there is really no storage for the golden disc. I guess you could probably have it propped inside Terrisour's mouth if you wanted to, but for the blaster you can hinge up either wing, and there is a slot right there, and there is a tab on the blaster, and you can just kind of tab this right into place. And then of course you do have to have the wing slightly angled up more to accommodate the space for this blaster, but overall I think storage wise that's okay. Considering of course this is a pterodactyl, there's really not that many places you can store a blaster that size, but overall I think that looks pretty cool. It is definitely a much better accessory than these lame little spike pieces that they consider an accessory, but overall very, very nice for the accessories. I really do wish this came with both golden discs, because for people who cannot spend that amount of money, you know, $170 to get the Arc, they could easily buy this one, and they can easily get a really cool Terrisour figure and both golden discs if they want to complete that and put that in their collection. But overall, accessory-wise, that's pretty much it, and of course, storage-wise, that's pretty much it. So now let's get into some articulation for the Pterodactyl mode. So I'm going to go over the wings in this mode, and I will not go over them later in the robot mode because it does stay the same. So let's start at the wings. So this is where I do have some complaints. The joint tightness on this figure is terrible. I love this figure, it looks amazing, really cool to display, but the tightness on this figure is so bad. There are so many loose joints. My first complaint is this wing here. So unfortunately it does tend to pop off quite a bit, so I do apologize in this review if it pops off in any random moments. Unfortunately it just pops off randomly, so you can of course just tab it back on, but that is kind of annoying. So this does hinge here. There is also a hinge right here, and there is also a double. See, it just pops off like that. That is quite unfortunate, and I will leave this in the video just to show you how bad it is. So there is a double joint here, so there is a hinge here and here that's very tight, and there's also a final hinge right here, like that. So there is a lot of articulation in just one wing, of course the same on the other side. Now for the rest of the pterodactyl, there is a tail here which you can untab to have some more angles and of course more expressive positions and stuff. For the head, there is a hinge here. There's also a hinge here where you can move it like that. There's also a swivel all the way around, and of course again you can open the mouth up just like that. And for the legs, this is another major complaint because these are the legs for the pterodactyl mode, but they're also the legs for the robot mode. So for the feet here, they are so loose because they're on a ball joint. So this figure does have a major tendency to fall down in the pterodactyl mode and in the robot mode, which is very unfortunate. So you can, of course, rotate these around. There is also a hinge right here, so you can hinge this up like that. So if you want to do more of a perched position, like an owl, you can do that, which is pretty cool. And I think that's pretty much it for the articulation for the pterodactyl mode. Of course, for the legs, you could kind of untab some areas to further extend the articulation and make him a little bit bigger if you wanted to, but I just showed the articulation of it in the, natural position. I'm not untabbing anything or modifying anything. The wings have pretty good articulation, but as I said before, they're extremely loose, and also the feet are extremely loose. But overall, I think the pterodactyl mode, as appearance-wise and, of course, realistic stylistic to the Pterodactyl. I think they did a really good job. They definitely nailed it, and the accessories are overall pretty good. Just they really need to do better with the tightness of the joints. Now let's get into a few comparisons. Now for a quick mold comparison, here we have Wave 2 Kingdom Eraser, and here of course the Golden Disc Collection Kingdom Terrisour. So these two figures are quite similar in mold and design and structure, but of course appearance-wise they're completely different. Of course this is an eagle or a falcon, and this is a pterodactyl. But getting down to the in-depth details of how they are similar, as you can see where the legs are positioned, they are quite similar, and where the arms really fold into place, they are quite similar. And when I get down to the transformation, if you have an Eraser, just have her in hand, and you can really tell with the transformation it is quite similar. I'd say the really main difference with transformation is how you fold in the head. That's pretty much it. But as you can see, of course, they have very articulated wings, and of course they have a very big wingspan, of course, and a lot of very similar details. The only thing different really you can tell right now is he has a faux chest and she does not. And yeah, she does hold up way better than Terrisour. Her joints are so much better. I would say the same for Skywarp in the Amazon exclusive pack. That figure is pretty good. But I'd say, of course, between all three, my favorite is definitely Eraser right here, just with joint tightness, appearance, and overall it just holds up so much better. I really do like Terrisour. It's just, unfortunately, he is very, very loose. So let's get into one more comparison. I will bring out Eraser later whenever Terrisour is in his robot mode. So for a quick legacy comparison, I thought I'd bring out Insecticon Kickback. Just for a quick Decepticon Predacon comparison. Two very different insect and animals, you could say. But overall, very, very cool. So that's pretty much it for comparisons. I will again have some later when he's in his robot mode. Now let's get into transformation. So now let's get into transformation. I do apologize if any of the wing pieces fall off, because unfortunately they are very, very loose. So I'm just going to start at the very top. So you're just going to hinge this whole panel up, and then you can just get your nail here, and then you can reveal the really good Terrisour head. Sometimes it can get some... There we go, and then you can just close this up. You can then rotate the head around, and this will just kind of hinge back for now. And then we can go to the legs. What you're going to do is bring the leg out, so there is a tab on the waist section, and there is a slot in the leg itself. So you're going to hinge this down, and do the same thing on the other side, just like that. And then what you're going to want to do is rotate at the knee, like that. Of course, do the same thing for the other leg, and then you can get the foot itself, rotate that around at the ball joint just like that, and then you can go to the back section here for some clearance. You will move the tail up, and then at the waist you can rotate this just like that, and then you can, if you want to, just close that panel up on the back. And then what you're going to want to do is get the arms, hinge these out just like this, hinge these out just like that. And then sort of kind of like the Eraser figure, there is this hinge here, and as you can see, it will just sort of collapse down just like that, and there we go. And then you can go back here, hinge the whole pterodactyl head back, just like that. And then we pretty much have the Terrisour figure. Just kind of straighten him up a little bit, and hopefully he will not fall over, because unfortunately with this figure, he has very loose feet. But that's pretty much it for the transformation, so let's get into the details of Terrisour. So here we have Terrisour in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. So starting at the very top, I think they did an amazing job with that head sculpt. That just screams Terrisour. I think they did a really good job with that. Of course, we do have a nice faux chest there with the nice black dots there and the red. Also, we do have some nice texturing, kind of hard shell detailing there. That looks pretty good. We have the nice wings. Lots of really nice detail there. We also do have, of course, the very creepy little pterodactyl claw still sticking out. That looks pretty good. Of course, the same detail on the other wing. We do have a nice silver spike there, which unfortunately is removable, so I would be careful. Do not lose these because they are very, very tiny and could pop off the arm. We have some nice silver, some red, of course, some more red for the hands. Going down to the lower part of the figure, lots of red, of course, some silver there. Some nice silver for these like little knee pads, some spikes there. That looks pretty good. And some nice detail for the feet. So overall, I think this figure looks amazing. I do not want to, fault this figure at all. I think it's a really good, well-detailed figure. My huge complaint with this figure is the joints are way, way too loose on this figure. So several times, whenever I put this down, I will of course lean it forward because the feet are way too loose. Unfortunately, with this figure, the feet are on a ball joint and they are extremely loose. Yes, I know there is a fix for it, but I really do not like customizing my figures, especially with an exclusive. I just leave it how it is and deal with the problems because I really do not like customizing them. So if you do have that problem, of course, you could easily use floor polish, or there's probably lots of fixes for it, but I will not do it. I just want to let you guys know there is several tolerances with this figure that are unfortunately my copy as well. So unfortunately, the wings, this hinge here is super loose, so that's why I said in transformation, if this pops off, unfortunately, you know, I will have to just pop it back on. But yeah, that is a very common thing. Also, again, the feet very loose, the arms are not too bad, but yeah, unfortunately, this figure is plagued with several problems, which weirdly enough, Airazor and Sky Shadow are very similar to this mold, and they do not have any of those problems. They do have a ball joint for their foot. Of course, they have these sort of semi-similar same wing design, and they do not have loose wings at all. So I'm kind of wondering what happened with this exclusive figure. I was honestly really hoping this figure to be like perfect, because besides Dinobot, I would say probably Terrisour is my favorite Predacon, so that's kind of unfortunate. I do have those quality control problems, but overall, appearance-wise, I think they definitely nailed Terrisour overall. So now for accessories, again, of course, he does have the golden disc, so if you wanted to take the time, you know, an hour or two, you could have him probably tuck this in his arm and hold it if you wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. So for the other accessory, he has this really cool blaster, so you can have him hold that in either hand. I think that looks pretty cool. I really do like that gunmetal gray or black they use for that. That looks pretty cool. If you wanted to, you could get a blaster piece, plug that on there, and that look pretty cool. So here is another problem. So you can have them hold it, which I think looks perfectly fine, but they also do advertise another way of storage, which actually doesn't really fully work. So there is a slot on the leg there, and there is a tab on the gun. Well, as you can see, you know, there's really not enough clearance. There's really only one kind of way you have to be able to, for it to work. You have to fully spread out the wing or get it in sort of a certain angle, like fully push back for it to actually sort of work. The only other way for you to actually do it is have the peg face forward like this, but I think that looks pretty ugly. So you can make it work where the peg is facing back, but do be aware you will have to have it in a certain angle and a certain direction for it to actually work. So unfortunately, that is another thing that really doesn't work. They advertise it to store on the leg, which actually, to be honest, when I first got this figure, I did not know you could do that, but that was pretty disappointing when I realized it really doesn't work that well. So that's kind of unfortunate. It doesn't work that well. I kind of wish maybe they had kept it like Airazor, where Airazor on her leg, there's a huge port there and you could store her little side guns, and I kind of wish this was just a little bit lower and there's a little bit more clearance where you could store that pistol. But it's not the biggest thing in the world, considering most likely I will have him hold his gun, not have it on his leg, because he cannot really do that much with that. So overall, it's a really good figure, just the quality control problems on this are not the best. In the comment section below, let me know, do you have these problems as well? Are the wings too loose? Are the feet too loose on yours? I'm assuming probably with the pistol not having enough clearance. I think that's probably for everyone, so unfortunately there's really no fixing with that. Maybe there could be a third-party company that has like a little adapter piece so it could work a little bit better. But overall, that's pretty much the details and the accessories. Let's get into a few comparisons, and then I'm going to get into articulation, and then we'll probably move into the final thoughts. Starting off for comparisons, here we have Airazor and Terrisour. Similarity-wise, there is some similarities, especially where the arms and the legs are concerned. They are quite similar. The feet are completely different sculpts, but the wings, the chest region, of course, the head sculpt are pretty much all completely different. He actually does have a faux chest, and she does not. Her chest is actually the falcon or eagle head for the Ultima. There is no fake chest. Transformation-wise, actually, if you have both figures, they are pretty similar. I think the only change is where you store the head for the figures, and of course, again, a faux chest on this one and not on that one. His animal head is actually on his back. Hers is right there for the chest. Of course, accessories completely different, and of course, paint-apps completely different. I think Airazor is definitely a much better figure. Quality control-wise, joint-wise, much better. Appearance-wise, of course, and just figure in general, general, I really do like the character Terrisour. I always thought he was super, super cool in the show, and definitely I really do like Terrisour on the Maximals as well. So pretty cool to have both these figures, but overall, again, I think they did a really good job just controlling the joint tightness and just the, features in general. She can actually store her weapons on her legs. For him, there is that option, but it just, you have to have his wing at a certain angle for it to actually work, which is pretty unfortunate. And I do think her accessories are much better because he just has a pistol and one golden disc. I really do not know why he didn't come with both. And of course he has those really weird fin or sharp pieces on his arms, which you can remove if you want to. I don't know why they're considered an accessory at all. It's really weird. I don't really see the purpose of them because you're most likely just going to end up losing them. But kind of unfortunate that that's the case. But overall, a very good looking figure indeed. So two really cool figures. Of course, there is Skywarp, which is very similar to Ares right here. The only difference between those two figures is the head sculpt. And of course, between these two, it's actually a very big difference. Let's move on to some more Predacon comparison. Here we have a quick Predacon comparison. Here we have Leader Class Kingdom Beast Wars Megatron, and of course Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Terrisour. So I think these two look very good next to each other because of course in the show Terrisour actually tries to overthrow Megatron several times, but it never really works out. He usually gets beat up in the end. So it's actually really cool to see these two characters finally next to each other. I was super, super excited when this figure came out, and I was like, okay, they need to make a Scorponok, a Waspinator, a Terrisour, and of course we're finally going to get a Tarantulas. Really, really looking forward to that figure. It is kind of unfortunate this Terrisour didn't, of course, turn out the greatest, considering he was probably one of my favorite Predacons. Of course, if you're not including Dinobot, if you are, then he is second. But he does have those QC problems, but just overlooking those, I think he is a pretty good figure, and I think he does look very good next to the Predacon leader. Let's get one more comparison with Scorponok, and then I think we'll finally get into some articulation. Here we have one final comparison. Here we have Predacon Kingdom Scorponok and Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Terrisour. I think they do look very cool next to each other. Actually, these are the two Predacons that die in the big space wave in the second season of Beast Wars. So unfortunately, two probably of my favorite Predacons do unfortunately die, but still two very good figures in my opinion. I think they do a little bit better on Scorponok in my opinion. I think it'd be very cool if they maybe try to redo Terrisour a little, a couple years. Maybe they could do a little bit better. I know there is supposed to be a G1 toy accurate one for the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line. I'm kind of debating on getting that one or not. What do you think? Will this one be, will this one be good enough for my collection, or should I get the toy accurate one? Maybe the quality control will be a little bit better. Maybe the joints will be a little bit better. I don't think they'll be able to fix the, pistol situation on how it stores on his leg. I think it'll be the exact same way, and of course the accessories will be the exact same. But maybe, who knows, maybe they'll do a little bit better on the joint wise. But yeah, two very cool figures. Really looking forward to Tarantulas, and definitely when I get him, I'll do one big, Predacon family picture with all the classic, characters from season 1 of Beast Wars. Really looking forward to doing that. So now let's move on to some articulation. So now for articulation, I will not be showing the wing articulation because I already did do that earlier in the review. So if you want to see that, go back to when he's in his Pterodactyl mode. So now let's move to the rest of the figure. So the head is on a ball joint, so it can rotate all the way around. It can look a little bit up, a little bit down. For the arm, it can rotate all the way around. There is also, of course, a swivel here. There's a little bit of hand articulation here. That's really due to transformation. So now moving the arms out of the way, there is also waist rotation. So you do have to move that little panel up, so there's some more clearance. This can rotate all the way around. There's also this little panel here, if you want to move that. Moving this little panel down, just like that. If we keep the arms up, there is, of course, leg rotation. You can do the full splits. You can kick forward, like that. So you can kick back, a knee bend. There is also, of course, full swivel. There is also a hinge forward, and also, of course, there is a full ball joint at the foot. So pretty good articulation for the figure. Unfortunately, of course, again, very, very loose joints, especially at the feet, because they're on ball joints, which I do question why they're so loose, because on Terrisour, they're also on ball joints for her feet, as well as Skywarp, so don't really understand what's so special about him, but overall, pretty good articulation, very standard for Deluxe, lots of articulation, and of course, hinges in the wings, so if you want to see that again, go back to the earlier part of the review. So that's pretty much it for articulation. I think that's pretty much it. Really really for this review, let's now get into the final. So now let's get into the final thoughts of this figure. So starting in the robot mode, overall appearance-wise, I think they definitely extremely nailed the Pterosaur look. The head sculpt looks really good, the wings, very good articulation. Of course, I love all the silver, that looks pretty cool. The blaster, I really like the gunmetal gray. I really do think it's pretty cool how they did a faux chest, and that's actually very cool. They sculpted in a lot of new details, and of course a lot of new mold just to do that, considering this is a repaint of Terrisour. So there is a lot of different pieces on this figure, considering, of course, again, just a repaint, but they actually had to put in a lot of work for it, so that's pretty cool. Again, love the silver, the legs, pretty cool, well detailed, good articulation in the figure overall, lots of articulation again in the wings. Again, unfortunately for this figure, very, very loose joints in the wings. These little pieces here fall off quite a bit. Of course, the feet there, very, very loose as well. You really have to make sure to sit him upright or he'll just fall over on the back, which is very unfortunate. And it's also unfortunate because for the feet there, also the feet for the Pterodactyl mode. So in the Pterodactyl mode, it does tend to fall over quite a bit as well. So you really have to perch it in a specific way for it to stay put. Of course, it does come with the golden disc. I think it looks pretty cool. I still don't understand why it doesn't come with two, because it is the golden disc collection, so I really don't understand why it didn't come with both of them. Because thinking at a retail standpoint, and of course as the fan standpoint, the only way you can get both golden discs is buying the Arc, which of course is like $180. So you can get that and get two, but if you don't have that much money, of course, the only other way to get one of them is get this. But of course, you're going to want both golden discs. Everyone's going to want to. So if you buy this, you'll only get one. So, you know, now I have three. So very unfortunate, it only comes with one. I really don't understand that. That's kind of silly in my opinion. Getting into transformation, overall, it's very simple. It's pretty similar to Terrisour. There's just a few extra steps, like where the head is concerned. It's slightly different because, of course, again, there's that faux chest. And, of course, with Terrisour, the animal face was her chest. But, of course, with this figure, the pterodactyl head is on the back. So some more steps, a little bit different from Terrisour, but overall very similar where the arms and legs are concerned. Pterodactyl mode, overall, it looks really good. This figure looks very good, very realistic, very scary looking pterodactyl, of course. I think they did a pretty good job. Storage for the accessory wise, of course, really no storage for the golden disc, but for the blaster you can store it on under the wing, which I think looks okay. I mean, there's really not that many places you can actually plug a blaster onto a pterodactyl, so very limited with that. Of course, the little spike pieces, they just stay in the arms, very useless pieces in my opinion. I think they should have just scrapped that whole thing, or of course just made them permanently on there, and they could have, of course, given us a second golden disc. That would have made a lot more sense in my opinion. Yeah, love the pterodactyl mode. Very realistic, very scary looking face. The wings, again, it's pretty cool how you can spread them fully out. That looks pretty cool in my opinion. You could put it on one of those flight stands, but overall, a very good figure. Just, you know, they need to fix up some, you know, quality control problems. They need to do better accessories, you know, a second golden disc. These spike pieces, I really don't understand them. They're very useless. Most people probably have already lost them by now. I'm happy I kept them, of course, because I want it to be complete, but every time I look at this figure, I'm going to wonder why are they removable in the first place. But overall, appearance-wise, and of course in the collection, I'm still very glad to have it, because as I said before, he's probably my second favorite Predacon if you're counting Downabot as one. If you're not, he's my favorite Predacon. He's really cool in the show. He's a very cool looking figure, just very, very loose joints, unfortunately. Let me know in the comment section below, will you get this one, or of course will you pass on it and just get the Buzzworthy Bumblebee, or will you get both? I'm kind of shaky on getting the Buzzworthy Bumblebee because, you know, as of this review, he's just an okay figure wise. If they can guarantee they'll fix all the problems I have with it, with the Buzzworthy Bumblebee one, I will absolutely buy it, but of course there is absolutely no guarantee. So we'll see with some reviews. I might buy it, maybe send it back, who knows. But that's pretty much it for the Golden Disc Collection pack. I think overall it was a pretty good collection. If you want me to do a ranking of the collection, I'd be very glad to. You know, my favorite to least favorite, unfortunately, as of right now, I think he's probably my least favorite of the collection. I think he is definitely the worst one, which is very unfortunate because I was actually going into the collection expecting him to be the best one, so kind of unfortunate. Let me know in the description down below which pack is your favorite of the collection. I also do have a playlist of all the reviews of this collection, every single review, so if you want to see that, I will post a link to the playlist in the description down below. I think that's pretty much it for this review. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.